I'm Jeff Bloomberg, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at MGE. And this week's tip is the last in my series of tips on the top 6 reasons behind overhead problems. If you missed the prior tips and you want to catch up, including finding out what the 6 reasons are, go ahead and click here on the right-hand side of your screen. You'll see a little button, and that'll take you to a playlist of the tips that you missed. So the category this week, we're talking about issues or areas of overhead that tend to go out of control the most in a dental office. The subject we're going to talk about this week has to do with debt, specifically loans, leases, and lines of credit. There's nothing wrong with having some debt, all right? There's nothing, if you're a new practitioner, you're going to have some debt. It is what it is. Your overhead as a percentage is going to be a little higher than a practitioner who paid off their original practice loan. It happens. But what we're looking at here is how doctors get themselves in trouble by taking on debt when they shouldn't be taking on debt. And let me give you some examples. There's actually 2 points specifically that I see. The first one is you have a doctor taking on debt thinking that by buying, moving to a new office or getting another chair or something along those lines is instantly going to boost their production. So let's look at a couple different scenarios. Let's say you're a dentist and you've got 2 operatories, a full-time hygienist, you're fully booked, you really can't fit anybody on the schedule, you're looking at working Saturdays and Sundays because you're so booked, well, you might need another chair. And by taking on the debt associated with the chair, what's going to happen? It's going to expand your production capacity. That debt is going to buy you more production, in which case, that's good, right? Versus, let's say we have a doctor who has 4 chairs, feels really happy, thinks everything is great, but thinks by adding 2 chairs, because, they're making X amount out of 4 chairs, by adding 2 chairs, all of a sudden, production is going to magically go up. They're not overbooked. They're not in a position where they're booked far out or they can't fit patients in, but there's this math they're doing based on just adding chair equals more production. Well, they add the chair, they add the debt, and they don't get extra production. This can get so bad where I've seen people in a situation where they actually move when they had no real reason to move other than they liked the new space, take on all kinds of debt for really no reason. They were actually in their old location. They were making plenty of money. The office was nice. I remember seeing one in particular that sticks out in my mind. The new office that this doctor moved to was gorgeous, but the doctor stopped making any profit because they didn't have the amount of productivity to really feed that move, okay? So unless, if you're trying to make a decision like this, should I move? You have to look at a couple things, or should I add equipment or whatever, is the main kind of guiding principle is by adding this debt, am I going to add production capacity, okay? Is it going to actually increase my production, and how? You have to answer that question for yourself. How's it actually going to do it? If you're so booked up and by adding space it's going to, great. If you're not, then I probably wouldn't do it. The only exception I would make is, let's say you're in an office and you're leasing and you see this incredible opportunity to buy a new space and you just don't want to pass up on it and you can afford it when you crunch the numbers. Well, there's always exceptions, okay? But that's sort of your guiding rule. By taking on more debt, is it going to make me more money, and how? That's the first thing. Second thing is, I've seen doctors purchase equipment that they're really not ready for yet, all right? Let's say you have a doctor and they're doing an average of 4 units of Crown and Bridge a month, and they go and lease a CEREC. Now, CEREC's, I'm not gonna give an opinion on it. It's a great machine. We have a lot of clients who use it and love it. But the lease payment on the CEREC is far more than this doctor was paying the lab for those 4 crowns a month that they were doing. They just weren't ready for it yet. So unless you're in a situation where if you don't buy this equipment, it's going to compromise you clinically, you really have to take a look when you're adding a piece of equipment is it going to actually pan out and either save me money or make me more money? If you use these basic guidelines, is this going to increase my income? Is this going to save me money or increase or make me more money with this new piece of equipment? You're usually pretty safe. If you avoid those pitfalls, you won't put yourself in a position where you're taking on debt that you're going to have difficulty paying back, or at least stress yourself out and forego profit. All right, well, that concludes this series. Thank you for being with me. If you've watched the whole thing, I compliment you, and I also say I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. But that concludes this. If you'll notice there's been a subscribe button in the top right-hand corner. We do tips like this every week, either me or Dr. Winteregg or Sabri or Dr. Pascal or Ashley. Go ahead and click it and subscribe, and you'll be informed whenever we have a new tip coming out that week. Other than that, if you have any questions for us at all, practice management related, please call us at 800-640-1140, or you can find us online at www.mgonline.com. And also, if you have questions for me based on anything I've covered in these videos, or let's say you're a specialist and you maybe have some questions that you didn't get answered in these videos, feel free to email me at jeff mgeonline.com. I'm pretty good about my email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very, very much, and we'll see you back when I'm back for my next tip.